Zira stood on the observation balcony of the Valara Academy, looking out over the sprawling city of glass towers and shimmering energy paths. The sun of her homeworld, a pale violet star, glinted off the towers, making them shine like 1,000 stars captured on the ground. She raised her voice to address the cadets gathered below, her tone sharp and confident. "Humans," she began, her voice echoing across the plaza, "are weak. That is a fact that should never be questioned. Their so-called legends of warriors are nothing more than stories told to inspire hope in hopeless people." The cadets murmured in agreement, some giggling nervously. They had heard these lectures many times, but Zira's flair for drama made it entertaining. Her eyes scanned the crowd and she noticed a few who looked skeptical, yet none dared challenge her. "Consider this," she continued, gesturing to a holographic display above the plaza. Images of ancient battles floated in midair, showing humans fighting bravely but always in the end losing. These humans, with their primitive technology and frail bodies, somehow became heroes in their own stories. But they are myths. They are irrelevant compared to the precision and power of Valaran warriors. The cadets laughed lightly. Zira's pride was well known across the academy. She had risen quickly in the ranks of Valara's military scholars, and her strategies were studied by many. Still, she thrived on showing off her superiority, especially when it came to humans whom she considered laughably weak. "Do you see the flaw in their tales?" Zira asked, pacing along the balcony. "Humans survived wars only because they stumbled into luck. Their victories were accidents. And yet here you are, training to be warriors in a world that depends on intelligence, skill, and technology, none of which humans truly understand." The cadets nodded enthusiastically. A few whispered among themselves, clearly impressed, while others tried to stifle their laughter. Zira thrived on their reactions. It fueled her pride. As she was finishing her lecture, a commotion at the academy gates caught her attention. A small fleet of sleek ships had just arrived, and one craft in particular stood out. It was simple in design, almost modest compared to the grand Velaran ships, but there was something about it that made Zira pause. A human stepped out. Commander Aaron, the envoy from Earth, moved with a calm confidence. He was neither tall nor muscular, and his uniform was plain. Yet he carried himself with a quiet authority that made heads turn. Zira felt a small spark of curiosity, quickly suppressed by her pride. "Another human," she muttered under her breath, a faint smile tugging at her lips. "Let's see how much of a legend you really are." The cadets noticed her focus shift. Some exchanged excited whispers speculating about the arrival. Zira, however, dismissed them with a flick of her hand. She walked down the balcony stairs toward the landing platform, her robe of ceremonial blue flowing behind her. As she approached Aaron, he extended a hand in greeting. His voice was calm, measured, and carried a warmth that contrasted sharply with the cold efficiency Zira was used to. "I am Commander Aaron, representing Earth," he said. "I come in peace and with a desire to cooperate with your people." Zira looked at his hand for a moment before shaking it firmly. His grip was strong, steady, and precise. Something about it made her hesitate, but only for a heartbeat. "Zira of Valara Academy," she replied, her tone neutral. "You are far from home. I hope your humans have traveled well?" Aaron nodded, unbothered by her dismissive tone. "We have. Your academy is impressive. I hope to learn much from you and perhaps share knowledge that can benefit us both." Zira arched an eyebrow, intrigued despite herself. "Knowledge? Humans have little to teach us in matters of strategy and warfare." She let her words hang, a challenge in every syllable. "But perhaps you will entertain us with your ingenuity." The cadets watched the exchange in fascination. For the first time in years, Zira's pride met something unfamiliar, genuine human composure. Aaron didn't flinch, didn't argue, and didn't even raise his voice. He simply smiled politely, a gesture that seemed to carry the weight of confidence born from experience. Zira's mind raced. She wanted to dismiss him as she always did, yet she couldn't ignore the subtle presence he exuded. She decided that the best way to measure his worth was not through conversation, but through demonstration. "I will show you our training simulation," Zira said, turning toward the academy's main hall. "You may participate if you wish. Let's see if your humans are truly as clever as your stories suggest." Aaron followed silently, his calm presence a stark contrast to the bustling energy of the academy. As they entered the simulation hall, Zyra activated the holographic interface. The room filled with floating targets, obstacles, and drone units programmed for strategic challenges. Your task is simple, she explained. Navigate the course, complete objectives, and do so faster than my cadets. It is a test of intelligence, creativity, and adaptability. Humans, you will lead your team. The cadets whispered among themselves. Some seemed eager to see humans fail, while others were curious about what Aaron might do. Zyra's own confidence was unwavering. She had trained thousands of cadets, and no human could match Valaran precision and reflexes. Aaron stepped forward. We accept the challenge, he said calmly. But I hope you understand, we don't just rely on technology. Strategy comes from understanding the situation and working as a team. Zyra raised an eyebrow. We shall see. The simulation began. Drones moved unpredictably. Obstacles shifted in real time, and the targets required more than brute force. They demanded observation and adaptation. Zyra watched as her cadets quickly followed the pre-programmed routines she had taught them. Their movements were flawless, precise, and efficient. Then Aaron's team began to move. At first it seemed clumsy. They hesitated, observing, discussing, and repositioning themselves. Zyra smirked. I expected as much, she muttered. But soon something remarkable happened. The humans began to adapt in ways the cadets could not predict. They used obstacles creatively, outmaneuvered drones in ways that seemed almost instinctual, and solved problems that the cadets struggled with despite their training. Zyra's eyes narrowed. She had seen humans before, but she had never observed this combination of patience, creativity, and quick thinking. The cadet's jaws dropped. Impossible, she whispered. They are thinking differently. The simulation ended. Aaron's team completed the course with solutions that Zyra had not anticipated, and even the cadets had to admit it was impressive. Yet Zyra's pride prevented her from acknowledging their success openly. She waved her hand dismissively. A fluke, she said loudly, projecting her usual confidence. Even the simplest obstacle can confuse the untrained. They were lucky this time. Aaron smiled politely as if he expected her dismissal. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the strongest, he said. Perhaps it is not luck, but a different kind of understanding. Zyra felt a twinge of doubt, a feeling she rarely experienced. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but in a way that made sense. They were not weaker, not less intelligent, they were simply different. And that difference, she realized, might be powerful. The cadets looked at Zyra, sensing her inner conflict. She turned away, hiding her thoughts behind a carefully composed expression. We will see if this human skill holds up in real challenges, she muttered under her breath. Aaron's calm, quiet confidence lingered in her mind as she left the simulation hall. Zyra had mocked human legends for years, but now, standing face to face with one, she wondered if the stories had been closer to reality than she had dared to believe. That evening, as the violet sun dipped below the horizon, painting the city in shades of purple and gold, Zyra stood alone on the balcony once more. Her pride urged her to dismiss what she had seen. Her curiosity whispered that she might have been wrong. For the first time, she felt a spark of respect, not just for Aaron, but for humans in general. Legends, she realized, were born for a reason. And perhaps, just perhaps, humans were not as weak as she had always claimed. Zyra did not know it yet, but the encounter with Commander Aaron would change everything. Her mockery, her pride, and her certainty were about to be challenged in ways she had never imagined. And when that challenge came, it would test not only her skills as a tactician, but her understanding of what true strength really meant. The city lights of Valara shimmered below her, and Zyra knew, deep inside, that the story of humans was far from over. The morning sun of Valara barely lit the horizon when the Academy received an urgent transmission. Red alert lights flashed across the communication hub, signaling an incoming anomaly. Zyra, who had been reviewing simulations with her cadets, immediately straightened, her mind sharp and focused. What is happening? She demanded, her voice crisp and authoritative. One of the cadets, young and nervous, typed rapidly on the holo screen. A cluster of rogue asteroids. It is on a collision path with the Valara system. The energy cores in the colonies could be destroyed if we do not intervene. Zyra's eyes narrowed. Asteroid clusters were not uncommon, but the size and trajectory of this one were unusual. It was moving unpredictably, almost as if guided by some external intelligence. Prepare the defense fleet, she ordered. We cannot afford failure. This is not a simulation. The Academy mobilized quickly. Valara's ships launched into space, their sleek forms cutting through the atmosphere with precision. Zyra commanded from the central bridge, her mind racing through calculations and strategies. Everything depended on timing, coordination, and skill. Yet, as the fleet prepared, Aaron and his human team approached her. "Commander Zyra," Aaron said calmly, "we want to assist. Perhaps our experience can help navigate this anomaly." Zyra hesitated. She had always relied on Valaran precision and technology. Humans in her mind were unpredictable, creative, yes, but not reliable in a real crisis. And yet, the memory of their performance in the simulation made her pause. Perhaps they could contribute. "Very well," she said, her tone controlled. "You may join the mission, but follow orders closely. Any mistake could be catastrophic." Aaron inclined his head respectfully. "Understood. We will follow your lead where needed, but we also hope to offer suggestions when the situation changes." As the fleet entered space, the magnitude of the threat became clear. The rogue asteroids were massive, some as large as small moons, and they moved in a pattern that defied normal calculations. Valara's sensors struggled to predict their path, and even Zyra's advanced algorithms could only provide partial guidance. The first wave of asteroids approached a mining colony. Zyra issued commands rapidly, directing the fleet to deploy shields and deflection units. The ships moved with perfect precision, creating a coordinated barrier to protect the colony. But then the unexpected happened. A smaller asteroid suddenly split into multiple fragments moving in unpredictable arcs. The Valaran fleet faltered slightly, unsure how to respond. Aaron's human team immediately reacted. Lena, Jalen, and the others coordinated quickly, identifying weak points in the asteroid cluster and suggesting alternative shield placements. "If we redirect energy here and adjust the trajectory there, we can prevent impact," Lena shouted over the comlink. Zyra hesitated for only a moment. Then, seeing the logic in the human approach, she ordered her fleet to follow the adjustment. The plan worked. The fragments were deflected, and the colony remained intact. Zyra felt a strange mix of relief and amazement. Humans were not just thinking differently. They were thinking better in ways her algorithms had not accounted for. She glanced at Aaron, who remained calm, coordinating his team with quiet authority. The challenge continued. Another wave of asteroids, larger and faster, approached the system's energy grid. Valaran ships deployed automated interceptors, but the complexity of the asteroid paths made them ineffective. Zyra realized that traditional strategies alone would not be enough. "Commander Zyra," Aaron's voice came over the comm, calm but insistent. "Allow us to guide some of your interceptors. Our team can predict irregular movements better in this scenario." Zyra paused, her pride warring with reason. But she knew the humans were right. With a curt nod, she agreed. "Do it. Take control of the interceptors temporarily." Aaron's team quickly adapted, using their knowledge of physics, timing, and trajectory to guide the interceptors. The asteroids were redirected safely, and the energy grid remained unharmed. Zyra felt her respect for humans deepen. Their ability to analyze, adapt, and act decisively was unmatched, especially under pressure. Hours passed in relentless tension. Asteroids of varying sizes moved unpredictably through the system, testing every skill the Valaran fleet possessed. Yet, with humans assisting, the mission was surprisingly effective. The humans didn't rely on brute force or preset patterns. They observed, calculated, and innovated. During a critical moment, one asteroid, enormous and fast-moving, headed directly toward the Valara capital. Zyra's first instinct was to command the fleet to fire a concentrated energy wave, but the asteroid was too large and the time was too short. Aaron's voice cut through the tension. "We need a different approach. Divide the energy among multiple smaller interceptors and create a chain reaction." "Timing is everything." Zyra's eyes widened. She had not considered the chain reaction method. It was a riskier, unconventional tactic. Yet something in Aaron's calm demeanor told her it would work. She made the decision instantly. "Execute it now." The interceptors launched, splitting into precise formations. The asteroid broke apart harmlessly, fragments burning safely in space. Zyra exhaled, a rare smile forming on her face. Humans had not only helped, they had saved the system from devastation. After the immediate threat passed, the fleet regrouped. Zyra floated in the command chamber, her mind alive with new understanding. Humans were not just adaptable. They could see patterns and solutions that even Valaran technology could not predict. They were innovative, courageous, and steady under extreme pressure. One of the cadets approached her quietly. "Ma'am," he said almost reverently, they really are different. Faster, smarter in ways we didn't expect. Is it true what the legends say?" Zira looked at him, her expression serious but thoughtful. "Legends are often rooted in truth," she said quietly. "Do not dismiss what you do not fully understand. Humans are stronger than we imagined, not in strength alone, but in mind, creativity, and courage." Later, Zira and Aaron met privately on the observation balcony. The stars stretched endlessly around them, a reminder of the vast universe beyond Valara. "You did not follow your usual methods," Zira said carefully, her tone a mix of curiosity and respect. "You humans are unconventional yet effective." "How do you do it?" Aaron smiled gently. "We observe first, we think together, and we trust that solutions can come from anyone on the team. Strength is more than force or technology. It is intelligence, creativity, and perseverance. Sometimes the simplest idea can change everything." Zira nodded slowly. She had mocked humans for years, doubted their legends, and dismissed their skill. But now she realized the stories were not myths. They were warnings and lessons for those who underestimated them. The cadets gathered around, eager to hear her thoughts. Zira addressed them, her voice carrying authority tempered with newfound humility. "Today you witnessed something extraordinary. Humans are not perfect, but they are resourceful, courageous, and innovative. Do not underestimate anyone. Strength can come from the most unexpected places." The cadets listened, wide-eyed and inspired. Zira had rarely spoken with such candor. The lesson was clear. True power is not measured by physical strength or technology alone. It is measured by ingenuity, teamwork, and the courage to act when it matters most. As night fell over Valara, Zira stood alone, gazing at the stars. She reflected on the humans she had met, especially Aaron. Their calm, creative thinking had turned a potential disaster into a triumph. She realized that legends existed for a reason, and perhaps the humans had earned their place in history not through chance, but through extraordinary abilities that few could comprehend. For the first time, Zira felt a sense of excitement about the future. The humans were no longer a curiosity or a joke. They were equals, capable of contributing in ways she had never imagined. And soon, she would see if their abilities extended beyond defense, into challenges that would truly test their courage and ingenuity. The story of humans in the Valara system had only just begun, and Zira knew that what she had witnessed today was only the start of something remarkable. Humans, she realized, were not just survivors. They were problem solvers, innovators, and warriors in their own right. And she, for the first time, looked forward to seeing what they could do next. The Valara Academy was quiet the next morning, though the tension from the previous day still lingered in the air. Cadets moved with deliberate steps, and instructors reviewed battle simulations, but none dared speak loudly. Zira, however, felt a new energy, a mix of pride, curiosity, and something unfamiliar: anticipation. Humans had proven themselves capable under pressure, and now she wanted to see just how far their skill could go. Commander Aaron and his team were already in the training hall, preparing for a simulation more complex than any they had faced before. Zira entered, her expression calm but her mind racing. Today's challenge would push humans and Valarans alike, testing strategy, problem-solving, and coordination under extreme conditions. "This will be a multi-phase simulation," Zira announced to both cadets and humans. "You will navigate shifting terrain, defend critical stations, and manage unpredictable anomalies. Efficiency, teamwork, and adaptability are all required. Failure will be evident." The cadets exchanged confident glances, certain that Valara's experience and training would secure victory. Zira observed quietly, curious to see how the humans would respond. Aaron studied the simulation layout, his eyes scanning every detail. "We will proceed carefully," he said, "but we will also adapt as situations change. Strategy is not fixed, it grows with experience." Phase 1 began. The floor transformed into a virtual battlefield, filled with rotating platforms, moving barriers, and automated drones programmed with complex algorithms. Velaran cadets followed preset patterns flawlessly, while Aaron's team observed first, carefully analyzing the shifting environment. Zira raised an eyebrow. They hesitate, she whispered to herself. A sign of weakness, perhaps. But hesitation was not weakness, it was calculation. The humans moved as one, each member responding to the next. When a drone suddenly changed direction, Aaron issued commands with precision. Lena diverted a moving platform, Jalen calculated safe paths, and the others repositioned to secure energy nodes. The cadets struggled to keep up. Their movements, while precise, were rigid. The humans, however, demonstrated something Zira had seen before but could not quantify: improvisation. During Phase 2, the simulation introduced a sudden complication. Multiple stations required simultaneous defense, and drones began attacking unpredictably. Valara's cadets attempted to respond, but their preset routines caused confusion. Some stations were left vulnerable and minor failures occurred. The humans reacted differently. Split your attention, Aaron directed. Divide responsibilities and coordinate actions. Focus on priority targets but don't ignore secondary risks. Zyra watched in amazement. The human team adapted instantly, securing stations and redirecting threats in ways she had never considered. Their teamwork was seamless. Each member trusted the others implicitly and responded to challenges with creativity and calm. A particularly difficult moment arose when a massive drone unit blocked access to the central station, where the main energy core was located. Valara cadets froze, unsure how to proceed. Aaron's team assessed the situation in seconds. Use the surrounding platforms to create a path, he instructed. Leverage their movement against them rather than confronting them directly. The humans executed the plan flawlessly. The drone unit was bypassed and the energy core remained secure. Zyra's pride struggled against the truth. Humans were not only capable, they were exceptional. As the final phase began, the simulation introduced random anomalies, rotating energy fields, shifting terrain, and unpredictable drone behavior. The challenge was designed to overwhelm even the most advanced systems. Valara cadets began to falter. Some followed routines too rigidly and were forced to restart sections. Humans, on the other hand, adapted continuously. They observed, communicated, and implemented innovative solutions in real time. Zyra found herself leaning forward, unable to look away. During a critical moment, a massive energy surge threatened the entire field. Zyra calculated the odds quickly. Velaran tactics could stabilize the surge, but it would be slow and rigid. Aaron's team had already spotted a faster solution. Coordinate the platforms to channel the energy flow, he instructed. Use timing and position instead of direct force. The plan worked perfectly. The surge was contained with minimal disruption. Zyra's sensors registered the humans' efficiency. Faster, smarter, more adaptable than any cadet she had trained. For the first time, Zyra spoke aloud, her voice tinged with awe. Remarkable, humans. Your strategy is unlike anything I have seen. Aaron smiled, a quiet and measured gesture. We do what we must to succeed. Strategy is not about rigid calculations alone. It is about understanding the situation, anticipating changes, and acting with both intelligence and courage. The simulation ended. Scores and data flashed across the hall, confirming what Zyra already knew. Humans had not only succeeded, they had excelled. Cadets looked on with a mixture of amazement and humility. Zyra turned to address them, her tone firm but filled with new respect. Today you have seen the truth about human capability, she said. They are not weaker, nor are they limited by the same constraints that govern other species. Their strength lies in their ingenuity, adaptability, and courage. Do not dismiss anyone based on appearances or legends. True ability often hides in unexpected forms. The cadets absorbed her words, realizing that the lessons they had learned were only part of the truth. Humans had demonstrated qualities that no technology or preset method could replicate. Zyra knew that this realization would stay with them for a lifetime. Later, Zyra met Aaron privately on the balcony overlooking the city. The twin moons of Valara cast a soft glow across the water, reflecting in gentle waves. Zyra studied him, her pride softened by the events of the day. You have exceeded every expectation, she said quietly. I mocked the legends of your people, but I now understand why they exist. Humans, you are extraordinary. Aaron's eyes were calm but full of quiet confidence. Legends are often reminders, not exaggerations. Humans have endured and adapted because we must. Strength is not only physical or technological, it is intelligence, creativity, and the will to act. Zyra nodded. She realized that humans were not just survivors. They were innovators and problem solvers. Their ability to think beyond rules and patterns gave them a unique power, one that could rival even the most advanced species in the galaxy. The cadets, observing from the shadows, felt a shift in Zira's authority. Her respect for humans was evident, and it inspired them to reconsider their own approach to strategy and training. Lessons in rigidity and precision were important, but creativity, adaptability, and teamwork were equally vital. Aaron and his team, meanwhile, prepared for the next challenge. Zira had a sense that this was only the beginning. Humans had proven themselves in simulations and under pressure, but the real test was yet to come. As night fell, Zira walked alone through the gardens of the academy. The scent of alien flowers filled the air, and soft lights glimmered across the pathways. She reflected on what she had learned. Pride, while important, could blind even the most skilled tactician. Prejudice and underestimation could be dangerous. Humans, she realized, embodied qualities that were rare and invaluable: intelligence, courage, and resilience. Her thoughts returned to Aaron. The human's calm confidence, his ability to inspire and lead, and his quiet determination were a living example of what the legends had always described. Zira understood now that mocking those stories had been a mistake. Legends existed to teach lessons, and the humans had lived up to theirs in every way. The stars above Valara shone brightly, a reminder of the vast universe and the challenges it held. Zira knew that humans had the potential to rise to any occasion, to face challenges that even the most advanced species might falter against. She felt a sense of excitement and anticipation, something she had not felt in years. Humans were no longer just subjects of curiosity or mockery. They were partners, allies, and in many ways examples of what strength truly meant. Zira looked forward to the future, eager to witness what these legendary warriors could accomplish when given the chance to shine. The story of humans and Valara was far from over. Their ingenuity, bravery, and unwavering spirit had already made a mark. And Zira, once a skeptic, now understood that humanity's legend was not just myth. It was real, and it was only beginning to unfold. The next morning, the Valara Academy buzzed with activity. Cadets hurried across the gleaming floors, and instructors checked their holoboards and simulation schedules. Sarah, still unsettled by the human ingenuity she had witnessed the day before, walked through the corridors with her usual grace, though her mind was unusually busy. Commander Aaron and his small human team had arrived early, eager to explore the Academy's simulation facilities. Unlike most aliens, humans moved with a combination of curiosity and energy that Zira found oddly engaging. She had expected them to follow orders rigidly, but instead they asked questions, observed carefully, and even offered small suggestions about the machinery and systems. "Commander," Zira said, approaching Aaron in the main simulation hall, "I hope you are ready. Today, the test will be more challenging than yesterday's practice. Your team will not only navigate obstacles but must also coordinate under unexpected variables." Aaron nodded, his calm expression unchanging. "We are ready. Please describe the scenario." Zira waved her hand, activating a large holographic map. The simulation hall transformed into a three-dimensional battlefield, complete with shifting platforms, moving energy fields, and hundreds of autonomous drones programmed to adapt to every move. "This," Zira explained, "is the Tarlon challenge. You must secure the energy cores scattered across the field and return them to your base. The drones will adjust their patterns depending on your actions. Efficiency and strategy are key. Any failure will be obvious." The cadets looked at the human team skeptically. They were confident that the Valaran cadets trained in the Academy's methods would outperform the humans easily. Zira, too, allowed herself a small smirk. She expected little from Aaron and his team. Aaron raised an eyebrow at the complexity of the simulation. "Interesting," he said. "This will require quick thinking and adaptability." "We accept the challenge." The simulation began. Immediately, the Valaran cadets split into precise formations, executing pre-programmed maneuvers with flawless timing. Their movements were mechanical perfection, fast, exact, and predictable. The drones adjusted slightly but largely followed the expected patterns. Aaron's team moved differently. They paused, scanning the environment, speaking quietly to each other. One human crouched near a shifting platform, testing its timing. Another used a temporary barrier to redirect a drone. Their movement seemed slower, almost hesitant, but Zira's sensors showed something fascinating. Every pause, every adjustment was improving their efficiency. "Commander, what are they doing?" whispered a cadet nearby. "They're not moving like us, they're improvising." Zira ignored the cadet's comment, though her curiosity grew. Improvisation was rare among aliens. It often led to mistakes, not solutions. Yet these humans were different. The simulation escalated. Some drones formed unpredictable clusters, while platforms rotated at different speeds. The Valaran cadets struggled to adapt, sticking to their programmed routines. The humans, however, adjusted quickly. One human, a young woman named Lena, noticed a cluster of drones moving toward a critical energy core. Instead of waiting for the drones to disperse, she coordinated with her teammate to temporarily disable a nearby barrier, creating a shortcut. Another human, Jalen, calculated the timing of the rotating platforms and instructed others on the fastest path to the next core. Zira's eyes widened. The humans were not just surviving, they were optimizing, thinking ahead in ways her cadets had never learned. At one point, a massive energy field suddenly appeared in the center of the map, blocking the path to the largest energy core. Zira expected the humans to hesitate, as any alien would. Instead, Aaron quickly analyzed the field, pointing to a sequence of moving platforms that could bypass the barrier safely. The team followed his guidance, moving with precision and speed. The cadets watching were stunned. How are they doing that?" whispered one. "We would have taken 10 minutes to figure that out." Zira clenched her jaw, unwilling to let them see her amazement. "Persistence and quick thinking," she muttered. "But it cannot last. Humans are clever, but they are limited." Yet as the simulation continued, it became clear that humans were not limited in the ways she expected. Every time a new obstacle appeared, they responded with innovation. When a drone blocked a direct path, they used indirect methods to complete their objective. When platforms shifted unexpectedly, they adjusted their timing rather than waiting. Zira's pride wrestled with reality. She had always believed humans were fragile, limited, and reliant on luck. But in front of her eyes, they demonstrated creativity, teamwork, and calm thinking under pressure. The cadets began to murmur among themselves, astonished by what they saw. Hours passed, though it felt like minutes. The simulation was relentless, testing endurance, coordination, and strategy. By the end, Aaron's team had secured every energy core, often in record time, using methods that Zira herself had not considered. She stepped onto the platform at the edge of the field, observing the results. The cadets looked dejected. They had followed every rule they had been taught and still lost to humans who seemed at first to be untrained. This cannot be," she whispered almost to herself. Aaron approached her, smiling politely. "It seems your cadets are very well trained. But strategy is not just about following routines. Sometimes flexibility and teamwork make all the difference." Zira's mind spun. She wanted to dismiss him, to call it a fluke, yet deep inside she knew the truth. Humans were adaptable. They saw solutions others could not. They were creative, resilient, and calm under pressure. "Commander," she said finally, her tone controlled but tinged with curiosity. "I have underestimated your species." Aaron inclined his head. "Perhaps. But underestimation is not unusual. Humans are often judged by appearances. Yet when the time comes, we rise to meet challenges." Zira felt an unfamiliar sensation. Respect. It was quiet, almost unnoticeable, but it was there. She had mocked human legends, laughed at their supposed bravery and skill. But now, facing one in action, she realized the stories might have been closer to reality than she had dared to believe. The cadets, sensing her shift in attitude, looked on with wide eyes. Zira turned to them, her expression returning to calm authority. "Learn from this," she said. "Strength is not always in power or technology. Sometimes it is in thinking differently, in adapting, in working together." The humans nodded, but Aaron looked at her with a hint of amusement in his eyes. "It seems some lessons are hard to learn until they are experienced firsthand," he said softly. Later that evening, Zira walked alone through the academy gardens, her mind still occupied. The violet glow of Valara's twin moons reflected off the water, creating patterns she found oddly mesmerizing. She replayed the day's events repeatedly. The humans' ingenuity, calm under pressure, and teamwork, all of it challenged everything she had believed about strength. Legends. Maybe they are not exaggerations, she whispered. The thought unsettled her pride, but it also sparked a new curiosity. She wanted to know more about humans, about what made them tick, what drove them to overcome impossible odds. Unseen, a small group of cadets watched her from the shadows. They had always admired her confidence and strength, but now they were witnessing something new: humility, curiosity, and the dawning realization that humans were not what they had always thought. Aaron's team rested nearby, talking quietly among themselves. They shared small jokes, observations about the academy, and strategies for the next simulation. Zyra listened from a distance, and a small smile tugged at her lips. Humans were not perfect, she realized, but they had qualities she had rarely seen in any species: creativity, perseverance, and the ability to inspire those around them. The night was quiet, but for Zyra it was a night of revelation. She had mocked human legends, dismissed their skill, and laughed at their stories. But after today, she knew the truth. Humans were capable of extraordinary feats, often in ways that no one could predict. And if she truly wanted to understand strength, she would need to pay attention to them. As the moons climbed higher in the sky, Zyra made a silent promise to herself. The next challenge would be greater, and this time she would not underestimate humans again. They had proven their value in ways she had never imagined, and the story of their ingenuity was only beginning. The Valara Academy had never felt so alive. Cadets moved swiftly across the training halls. Instructors coordinated complex drills, and the city outside shimmered under the twin moons. Yet the excitement was not just routine. It was the result of something extraordinary. Humans had arrived in their midst, and they had already changed perceptions forever. Zyra walked through the central hall, observing the cadets. Their eyes were bright with curiosity, admiration, and, most importantly, inspiration. She had spent years teaching strategy, precision, and discipline, but now she realized that another element was equally important: creativity, adaptability, and the willingness to think differently. Commander Aaron and his team were in the main training arena, preparing for the joint exercise Zyra had designed. This time, humans and Valarans would work together, combining Valara's technological mastery with human ingenuity. Zyra watched silently, noting how Aaron organized his team. His leadership was quiet, calm, yet profoundly effective. Every member trusted each other, communicated clearly, and responded to changing circumstances instantly. "This will be the final exercise," Zyra announced, her voice carrying authority tempered with respect. "You will face multiple challenges simultaneously: simulated environmental hazards, shifting obstacles, and complex targets. Humans and Valarans must cooperate to succeed. Failure is not an option." The cadets nodded, excitement evident in their expressions. Some looked anxious, unsure of how humans would integrate with their highly structured training methods. But Aaron's calm presence reassured them. The simulation began. Platforms shifted, energy fields moved unpredictably, and drone units adapted to every move. Valara cadets relied on their programmed routines, precise but inflexible. Humans, in contrast, observed carefully, then acted with both creativity and confidence. When a massive drone blocked a key passage, Valara cadets hesitated, unsure of how to proceed. Aaron quickly assessed the situation and issued instructions. "Use the surrounding environment," he said. "Coordinate with your teammates, don't confront the obstacle directly. Redirect its path." The cadets followed reluctantly at first, but soon they adapted. Together with the humans, they managed to bypass the obstacle efficiently. Zyra observed with a growing sense of pride. Her cadets were learning something new. Strength came not just from precision, but from intelligence, creativity, and collaboration. The simulation escalated further. Multiple energy cores required simultaneous defense, while drones attacked unpredictably. Valara cadets initially struggled to keep up, but humans guided them calmly. Lena suggested defensive formations that took advantage of shifting terrain. Jalen calculated timing for moving platforms. Aaron coordinated the overall strategy, ensuring that humans and Valarans worked in harmony. Zyra realized she had underestimated her cadets' ability to learn from humans. Slowly but surely, the Valaran students began to understand the human approach. They learned to observe first, to communicate clearly, and to act with innovation rather than strict adherence to routine. Midway through the exercise, a simulated energy storm erupted in the arena. Platforms were thrown off alignment. Drones became unpredictable and visibility dropped. Valara cadets froze, relying on procedures that no longer applied. Aaron's team immediately sprang into action. Focus on stabilizing the platforms first, Aaron instructed. Divide tasks, communicate clearly, and anticipate shifts. We adapt as a team. The humans moved with quiet efficiency, their calm confidence contagious. Valarans began to follow suit, improvising solutions and responding to changes faster than they ever had before. The storm, once a source of chaos, became a demonstration of seamless cooperation. At the climax of the simulation, a massive energy core threatened to overload, endangering the entire arena. Zyra's initial strategy would have required careful calculations and precise timing, a slow approach. Humans, however, proposed a different solution. Synchronize the platforms to channel the energy flow, Aaron suggested. Use indirect methods to diffuse it. Timing and teamwork will prevent the overload. The human-led solution worked flawlessly. The energy core stabilized. The arena remained intact, and the simulation ended with resounding success. Cadets cheered, both impressed and inspired by the cooperation between humans and Valarans. Zira stepped forward, her expression one of genuine admiration. Today you have all demonstrated something extraordinary, she said. Humans have shown us that strength is not measured by technology or reflex alone. It comes from creativity, intelligence, and the courage to act when circumstances change. Cadets, observe carefully. This is a lesson you will carry with you for life, she turned to Aaron. You and your team have exceeded all expectations. I now understand why your species is legendary, not because of luck or myth, but because of ingenuity, courage, and the ability to inspire others. Aaron inclined his head respectfully. Legends are built on truth and experience. Humans have faced challenges for millennia, and we have learned to adapt, think creatively, and act decisively. Today was no different. We simply applied those lessons. The cadets watching the exchange were silent for a moment, then erupted into applause. Zira smiled, a rare and genuine smile that reflected her respect and gratitude. Later, as the exercise ended, Zira called Aaron aside for a private conversation. They stood on the observation balcony overlooking the academy and the city beyond. The twin moons reflected on the water, casting a peaceful glow. You have changed my perspective completely, Zira admitted. I mocked the legends of your people, but now I understand. Humans are not just resilient, they are brilliant, courageous, and inspiring. Your presence here has taught us all a valuable lesson. Aaron smiled gently. That is what humans do. We adapt, we innovate, and we rise to challenges. We also learn from others, just as your cadets have learned from us today. True strength is a combination of intelligence, courage, and collaboration. Zira nodded thoughtfully. I see now that our pride can sometimes blind us to the abilities of others. Today, I have learned humility and respect. The cadets gathered nearby, eager to hear her words. Zira addressed them, her voice carrying authority and wisdom. Do not underestimate anyone, and never dismiss a story or legend without understanding its origins. Humans have shown us that courage and intelligence can surpass even the most advanced technology. This lesson will guide you for the rest of your lives. The cadets listened intently. For many, this was the first time they had witnessed true human ingenuity and bravery. They realized that the legends were not exaggerations, but reflections of human ability, perseverance, and teamwork. As the evening approached, Zyra walked through the academy gardens, reflecting on the events of the day. The humans had proven themselves not only in simulations but also in real-world problem-solving. They had shown adaptability, creativity, and courage, all under intense pressure. Zira realized that humans were no longer just a curiosity or a subject of mockery. They were equals, partners, and, in many ways, teachers. Their approach to challenges combined intelligence, calm thinking, and teamwork in a way that Valarans could learn from. Erin and his team joined her in the gardens, their presence calm and reassuring. The human leader's quiet confidence seemed to light up the space, and Zira found herself inspired by their approach to challenges, learning, and cooperation. You have exceeded all expectations, she said again, this time with a smile that reflected true admiration. The legends are not myths. They are reflections of your strength, and today you have proven that strength once more. Aaron nodded. Humans have faced countless challenges. We learn, adapt, and rise to meet them. We are proud to share what we know and even prouder to learn from others like your cadets." The cadets watched in awe. They had witnessed history in the making, the day human ingenuity and Velaran precision came together in perfect harmony. Zira knew that this collaboration would change the Academy forever, shaping generations of Velaran warriors to value creativity, teamwork, and adaptability alongside precision and discipline. As night fell, Zira stood alone for a moment, looking at the stars above Velara. She reflected on the journey from mockery to respect, from doubt to admiration. Humans had earned their place in the galaxy not through brute strength, but through ingenuity, resilience, and unwavering courage. For Zira, the lesson was clear. Legends exist for a reason. Humans were not just myths, they were real, capable, and extraordinary. And now she understood that their potential was limitless when met with trust, respect, and cooperation. The city of Velara glimmered below her, alive with possibility. Zira smiled, feeling a sense of hope and excitement for the future. Humans and Velarans, working together, could accomplish remarkable things, and for the first time she looked forward to the challenges yet to come, knowing that the humans beside her were ready to rise to meet them. The story of human ingenuity and courage had reached a turning point. The legend Zira had once mocked now stood before her, alive and undeniable, and as she watched the humans prepare for the next adventure, she knew one truth. Humanity's strength was not a tale, it was real, enduring, and capable of inspiring the entire galaxy.